Have you ever wondered what really happens when your eyes close and the world fades away? Your body sinks into rest, but your awareness doesn't simply switch off. It slips somewhere else, quiet, unbound, and strangely alive. Where does it go? That question has haunted humanity since the beginning of time. Some call it dreaming, others call it soul travel. But whatever name we give it, the truth might be far bigger than we've ever imagined. Over centuries, both science and spirituality have tried to map this invisible territory. What I'm about to share might completely change how you see sleep and what it means to be conscious. Think about it. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so real, that waking up felt like returning from another world? If you have, you've already touched the edge of this mystery. Ancient cultures believed that when the body sleeps, the soul simply takes a walk, free from time, distance, and gravity. Egyptians called dreams the doorway of the gods. Greek philosophers, like Plato, said the soul glimpses higher realities while the body rests below. Today, science describes sleep as the body's maintenance cycle, essential for memory, repair, and balance. But deep inside those nightly hours, something else happens. Something that behaves a lot like meditation, and in rare cases, like a near-death experience. Brain scans reveal that in certain stages of sleep, the mind starts operating in ways that challenge everything we know about perception and time. And here's where things get strange. If consciousness is just a chemical flicker in the brain, then how do we explain thousands of reports of people seeing, hearing, and even learning things while their bodies were motionless in bed? Are these just random firings of the mind, or is consciousness actually stepping beyond the limits of flesh? Some researchers believe the clue lies in what they call the separation of awareness. It's the subtle moment when your body powers down, but your consciousness stays awake. In this state, the brain's frequency slows dramatically, and the senses fade, yet the self remains present. This is where the most vivid cinematic dreams begin, and sometimes something even more profound. Studies from the Monroe Institute, along with pioneers like Dr. Charles Tart, suggest that during deep REM cycles, awareness may actually project beyond the body. This phenomenon, often called an out-of-body experience or astral projection, hints that consciousness might be non-local, capable of existing independent of the brain. So why don't most people ever notice it? Because from childhood, we've been taught to trust only what we can measure, see, or touch. Anything beyond that gets dismissed as imagination. But those who've crossed that boundary describe a feeling of weightless clarity, as if the entire universe becomes transparent. They speak of traveling to unfamiliar places and returning with verifiable details they couldn't possibly have known. One man who devoted his life to this mystery was Robert Monroe, a respected researcher who documented his journeys into non-physical realms. His accounts forever changed how we think about what real means. There's another layer to all of this, one most people overlook. Your emotional state before sleep acts like a compass for where your consciousness travels. Go to bed anxious or heavy, and you'll likely drift into dense, chaotic dreamscapes. But if you fall asleep with calm intention, clear, elevated, grateful, you may open into higher experiences that feel deeply spiritual, even instructional. Tonight, try this small experiment. Before you drift off, whisper a thought to yourself. I want to remember where my consciousness goes tonight. You might be surprised by what returns in the morning. Few people realize that the moments right before sleep, that gentle blur between waking and dreaming, hold incredible power. It's called the hypnagogic phase, and it's the brain's most suggestible state. In that borderland, the conscious mind loosens its grip, and the subconscious begins to listen. There's a thin line between being awake and drifting into dreams, a fleeting doorway where the mind becomes unusually open. In that moment, reality bends. The logical mind fades, and the subconscious starts listening. This fragile space has a name: the threshold of sleep. It's where imagination and insight quietly meet. Some of history's greatest minds knew how to linger there. Thomas Edison would hold a metal ball in his hand as he drifted off. The moment he began to fall asleep, it dropped, waking him instantly, often with a brand new idea still fresh from the dream world. Nikola Tesla did something similar, using the borderland between sleep and wakefulness to pull inventions straight from the void. They weren't just lucky, they were using a law of consciousness that anyone can tap into. Here's how. Before you go to sleep, speak to your mind as if it's a close friend who never stops listening. Tell it what you want, not in a desperate way, in a clear, steady voice that assumes the message will be heard. Say things like, "I'll wake up feeling energized and focused. Show me new ideas for my next step. Reveal the solution to this problem while I rest. Let me remember my dreams with clarity." These aren't magic words, they're instructions. Your subconscious works through the night, weaving possibilities together until, suddenly, an answer surfaces. Maybe as a quiet realization, maybe as a vivid dream that feels like a message from somewhere beyond logic. And if you want to go even deeper, you can pair these suggestions with a spiritual intention. Practitioners of lucid dreaming and astral travel often use affirmations like, "Tonight, I'll stay conscious while I dream. I'll remember everything my awareness experiences beyond the body." With patience, the mind starts responding. People who do this regularly describe moments of crystal-clear lucidity, dreams that turn into journeys, encounters that feel profoundly real, and sensations of floating free from the body while the physical form sleeps undisturbed. It's here that science and spirituality meet again. Monks, mystics, and those who faced near death all describe the same breathtaking freedom. A realm where distance collapses, where light takes form, and where time no longer feels like a line but a living ocean. But the question always returns. Are these actual travels of consciousness, or just dreams dressed in mystery? Evidence keeps whispering that it's more than imagination. Some experiencers, after leaving their bodies, have accurately described details of distant rooms, objects, even conversations they couldn't have known about. That kind of precision leaves a trace of truth hard to dismiss. Modern physics, too, adds an unexpected layer. Quantum research hints that consciousness might not be trapped inside the brain at all. It could be a field we tune into, rather than something we generate. Take the case of neurosurgeon Dr. Eben Alexander, who after a near-death experience described a reality more vivid than life itself. For him, consciousness existed far beyond neurons, vast, intelligent, and profoundly alive. So maybe the dreams we have each night aren't just stories our brain invents. Maybe they're postcards, fragments of memory from journeys our awareness takes through invisible worlds. Before we go any further, let me ask you something. Do you believe in parallel realities? If that idea stirs something inside you, drop a comment that says, "I want to know more about parallel realities." Because soon, I'll share an entire video that dives into those hidden dimensions and how your own consciousness might already be touching them without you realizing it. And hey, if you haven't yet, Make sure you're subscribed and the notifications are on, so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's return to the dream world. Dreams have always been the language of the unseen. From Freud to Jung, from shamans to mystics, everyone's tried to decode their secret grammar. Freud believed dreams were the mind's way of expressing what we hide while awake. Jung saw them differently, as portals to a vast, shared realm of symbols that connect every human being. Across cultures and centuries, people have described dreams that feel like more than imagination. Moments where they floated above their bodies, met someone who wasn't physically there, or glimpsed events that hadn't yet happened. These experiences are what we now call lucid dreams. When you realize you're dreaming, and in that awareness, you begin to shape the dream itself. Spiritual traditions take this even further. In shamanism, dreams are sacred journeys. The soul travels, learns, heals. In certain Buddhist teachings, sleep is seen as rehearsal for death, a practice in navigating the landscapes we'll one day cross when the body no longer binds us. But here's where things get truly strange. Some people claim to share the same dream on the same night. A friend, a partner, a family member. They wake up with matching details, as if they both logged into the same invisible world. How could that be possible? Quantum physics may offer a hint. It suggests that all things, every mind, every atom, are woven together in a single unified field. And if thoughts and emotions carry frequencies, then maybe two people in deep sleep can tune in to the same wavelength, co-creating a shared dream space. Jung's idea of the collective unconscious fits this perfectly, a shared memory pool beneath human awareness, filled with symbols and archetypes we all somehow recognize. It's why people across continents dream of the same skies, the same floods, the same ancient faces. In the deepest stages of sleep, consciousness might plug directly into that universal database, a space beyond language, beyond separation. There are even documented accounts of joint spiritual dreams, two or more people describing the same place, the same conversation, the same light. It's as if, while the body sleeps in silence, awareness drifts into a higher frequency of existence, where individuality dissolves and we remember, if only for a few hours, that everything in the universe is connected. Not all dreams are random echoes of the day. Some come as messengers, signs, warnings, or gentle instructions from something larger than ourselves. And sometimes, they're glimpses of what's still to come. Have you ever had a dream that somehow came true? Maybe you saw a moment, a place, or even a person, and later, it unfolded exactly the same way in real life. It sounds mystical, but here's what might actually be happening. When we fall asleep, our minds are no longer bound by the rules of the physical world. In waking life, time feels like a straight line, one event following another. But in the dream state, that line bends. Our consciousness can move freely, stepping outside of the usual past, present, future order. Physicist John Wheeler once suggested something radical, that in the quantum realm, even the past could be shaped by the future. If atoms and particles can behave this way, who's to say our consciousness can't? Maybe while dreaming, our awareness taps into information that hasn't yet reached the physical world. Throughout history, there have been countless reports of people dreaming events before they happened. Abraham Lincoln famously dreamed of his own death just days before his assassination. Others have described seeing disasters before they occurred, like the Titanic tragedy or even the 9/11 attacks. Psychologist Carl Jung called these strange alignments synchronicities. connections between events that can't be explained by logic or coincidence. If time flows differently in the realm of consciousness, then perhaps dreams act as windows into possible futures, fragments of a timeline not yet written. So how do you tell if a dream is just random or something more? Usually, the difference lies in intensity and clarity. Precognitive dreams often feel hyper-real, full of sharp detail, emotion, and a weight that lingers after waking. People who experience them say they just know it wasn't an ordinary dream. If that's true, then every night we close our eyes, we might be connecting with something far greater, a universal field where every possibility already exists. Now, not all dreams serve the same purpose. Each type offers a unique glimpse into the mind, or maybe into something beyond it. Symbolic dreams, messages from the subconscious wrapped in imagery and metaphor. For instance, a house might reflect your inner emotional world. Precognitive dreams, flashes of the future, glimpses of moments that haven't yet unfolded. Lucid dreams, the rare state where you realize you're dreaming and can shape the story yourself. Spiritual dreams, experiences that feel guided, encounters with divine energy, lost loved ones, or out-of-body journeys. But the real question is, how do we truly interpret what our dreams are trying to tell us? The key to understanding your dreams lies in two things: attention and intention. If you truly want to remember them and decode their messages, start a simple habit. Keep a journal beside your bed. The moment you wake up, write down everything you can recall, even the fragments. Do this consistently, and you'll begin to see patterns, recurring symbols, emotions, and messages that slowly start to make sense. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. Beyond the surface of ordinary dreams lies something many traditions call the astral plane, a space said to exist between the physical and the spiritual worlds. Mystical schools like Hermeticism, Theosophy, and Spiritism describe the astral as a dimension where thoughts and emotions take form instantly. It's fluid, responsive, and completely shaped by the vibration of your consciousness. In this realm, fear creates storms, love creates light. People who've had out-of-body experiences during sleep often describe traveling through these layers. Some report bright, peaceful environments, places that feel full of knowledge and benevolent energy. Others describe darker, heavier zones, shaped by confusion or unresolved emotion. It's as if your inner state before sleep decides what version of this reality you'll enter. Many spiritual researchers divide the astral into three main levels. Lower astral plane, dense and heavy, where fear, guilt, and chaos take form. Some experience it as a dark, shadowy space. Middle astral plane, the most common one, where ordinary dreams unfold and your subconscious projects its own stories. Higher astral plane, luminous and expansive, a realm of clarity, guidance, and higher learning, where many claim to meet spiritual mentors or experience deep realizations. Some people access these planes naturally in sleep, while others train to do so through lucid dreaming or mindfulness practices before bed. Among the most mysterious of these experiences are spiritual encounters. Countless people report meeting beings of light, deceased loved ones, or even the living, all while asleep. Skeptics call it imagination, but when people wake up with knowledge or messages they couldn't have known otherwise, the question becomes harder to dismiss. Maybe these experiences aren't just dreams. Maybe in those moments, consciousness truly steps beyond the physical, into a field where all souls are connected. For those who've lost someone, such dreams often bring comfort. A final conversation, a message of peace, or simply the feeling of presence that feels unmistakably real. And while science might call it the mind's way of healing grief, there are many stories where details revealed in these dreams later proved to be true. Another kind of spiritual encounter happens in what people describe as learning sessions, moments where. Another kind of spiritual encounter happens in what many describe as learning sessions. These aren't random dreams. They feel structured, like a classroom for the soul. People often recall sitting with guides, receiving lessons about universal laws, healing, or even their own life purpose. When they wake, the knowledge stays, not as words, but as a quiet knowing that shapes their thinking from that day on. In some cases, dreamers claim to see symbols, equations, or concepts far beyond their current understanding, things they later discover to be real. It's as if the subconscious mind connects directly to a higher intelligence that transcends time and language. And here's something fascinating. Ancient traditions believed that sleep wasn't just for rest, but for spiritual education. In Egyptian and Greek mystery schools, initiates would enter sacred sleep chambers, asking for visions and answers from the higher realms. They called it incubation, a deliberate way to receive guidance from the divine through dreams. Modern science is only beginning to explore this territory. Researchers studying brain waves during lucid dreams have found that the mind behaves as if it's both awake and asleep, aware, yet detached from the body. Some even theorize that these states might allow consciousness to reach deeper layers of reality, tapping into information fields not normally accessible in waking life. When you combine ancient wisdom and modern science, a pattern emerges. Dreams might not just be reflections of our inner world. They could be gateways to other dimensions of reality, places where time, space, and individuality blur into something far greater. And that brings us to the real question. If consciousness can travel while we sleep, what happens when we wake? Are we truly leaving that other world behind, or just shifting focus from one layer of reality to another? Because here's the truth. Every night, as your body rests, your consciousness explores vast territories of existence. Some of them are shaped by your emotions. Others are shaped by pure intelligence, the quantum field of infinite possibilities. When you begin to observe your dreams with awareness, you'll realize they're not just stories. They're messages, fragments of a larger conversation between you and the universe itself. So the next time you wake from a vivid dream, don't rush to move on. Write it down. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what is this dream trying to show me? Because somewhere between sleep and awakening, the veil between worlds grows thin. And for a few moments, you remember who you really are. A traveler between dimensions. Some ancient teachings go even further. They claim that while we sleep, our consciousness can be invited to spiritual academies that exist beyond the physical world. There, souls are said to study the deeper laws of evolution, consciousness, and the universe itself. Countless people have described waking up with strange yet familiar insights, truths they never studied, yet somehow knew. And when they research them later, they find those same ideas hidden in ancient scriptures and esoteric traditions. It's as if their minds had attended a class that exists outside time. So how can you consciously take part in these encounters? The answer lies in clear intention. Right before sleep, say to yourself, "Tonight, I want to meet my spiritual guide, and remember every detail when I wake." Keep a notebook by your bed. When morning comes, write down anything you recall, even a symbol, a color, or a single word. These fragments often connect like puzzle pieces over time, revealing messages that feel deeply personal. Now let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. Nightmares. They're not just random flickers of fear. They're one of the most mysterious windows into the unconscious mind. Some serve as emotional alerts. Others might even pull us into lower vibrational dimensions of the astral world. Neuroscience tells us that the brain keeps sorting through emotions while we sleep, replaying experiences and organizing memories. According to Antti Revonsuo's threat simulation theory, nightmares might actually be a built-in rehearsal system, a way for the brain to prepare for real-life danger. But if you look deeper, you might see something more spiritual at play. Nightmares could be reflections of the vibrational frequency we carry to bed. They mostly appear during REM sleep, the phase where the mind is most active. Freud believed nightmares revealed repressed fears. Jung saw them as symbols from the deeper layers of the psyche, shadows asking to be understood. People going through trauma, grief, or anxiety experience them more often because their inner world is trying to heal. Yet not every nightmare comes from stress alone. Some seem to open doors to unfamiliar landscapes and energies that feel otherworldly. If our dreams mirror our energy, then changing that energy before sleep changes everything. Here's how you can do it. Cleanse your energy. Burn sage or incense, or simply visualize a white light surrounding you. Reprogram your thoughts. Repeat something peaceful like, "I sleep in safety and wake in light." Avoid stimulation, skip alcohol, caffeine, and heavy food before bed. Write your dreams. Nightmares often hide messages. Writing them down helps decode their meaning. Learn lucid dreaming. Recognizing a dream while you're in it lets you face fear and transform it. In some spiritual paths, nightmares aren't seen as punishments, but as teachers. They show up when a part of you is asking to be heard. Students of astral projection are even trained to stay calm inside nightmares, to confront what's chasing them and realize it's only a reflection of their own unhealed energy. And when they do, the nightmare dissolves, replaced by light and understanding. So if you can meet your fears in the dream world, you'll find that darkness isn't the enemy, it's the invitation. But why do we forget our dreams at all? Because the moment we wake, the logical mind takes control again. It filters, organizes, and discards dream content like it's useless, even though those experiences were incredibly vivid seconds earlier. During REM sleep, the brain works on an entirely different wavelength. When that shifts too quickly upon waking, the bridge collapses and the dream fades. Still, dream recall is a skill, and anyone can train it. Keep your notebook ready, and as soon as your eyes open, write down whatever's left in your memory. Even fragments matter. Over time, they'll form patterns. And one powerful trick: don't move right after waking. Stay still, replay the dream in your mind, and let the images come back. You'll be amazed how much more you remember when you give your consciousness that quiet moment to reconnect. Because every dream, even the ones that scare you, is part of your ongoing conversation with the universe. You just have to remember to listen. Here's something most people never realize. The dream world isn't just beautiful. It can also be intense. Yes, sleep is a gateway to higher awareness, but it's also a realm that demands understanding. If you've ever faced recurring nightmares, strange sensations, or felt a dark presence during the night, you've already brushed against the deeper layers of consciousness. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood phenomena: Sleep paralysis. You wake up, but your body won't move. Your chest feels heavy, your breath short, and sometimes it feels like something's standing nearby. Science says it happens when the mind wakes before the body, a natural reflex that keeps us from physically acting out dreams. But here's where it gets interesting. Many spiritual traditions believe sleep paralysis happens when consciousness returns too suddenly from the astral plane, catching a glimpse of overlapping dimensions before fully landing back in the body. If it ever happens to you, remember this. Stay calm. Focus on your breath. Try to wiggle a finger, a toe, anything. The moment fear fades, the paralysis breaks. Some people even use it as a doorway, turning that frozen moment into a conscious exit from the body and exploring the astral world with awareness. Then there are the unknown entities people sometimes meet in dreams. Not all of them are negative. Some feel ancient, some loving, and others unsettling. What are they really? Psychologists might call them symbols, reflections of our hidden emotions and unhealed parts. But mystics see them differently, as consciousnesses that exist in subtle dimensions, guides, visitors, or energies shaped by emotion. In truth, it might be both. Strong emotions can give shape to energy forms that appear vividly in dreams. And here's the golden rule: never feed fear. Fear amplifies lower vibrations and makes the dream denser. Instead, visualize yourself surrounded by light before sleep. That simple act of intention shifts everything, protecting your energy and attracting higher frequencies. Some dreamers experience another challenge: mental exhaustion after sleep, as if they've lived an entire second life overnight. This usually means your mind was processing heavy emotions or engaging in deep astral activity. To balance that out, ground your energy after waking. Drink a full glass of water. Step outside, feel the ground under your feet, or take a shower to reconnect with your body. These small rituals bring your energy back home. If you truly want to explore the dream world safely, build a nightly ritual. Meditate, pray, or simply visualize a sphere of soft light around you before bed. That's your energetic armor. And just as important, protect what you let into your mind. Avoid dark or violent content at night. Your last thought before sleep shapes the reality you'll enter. Sleep isn't just rest. It's a classroom for the soul, a place where the conscious and the unseen meet. Every dream, every symbol, even every nightmare carries insight about who you are and what you're becoming. You now know that your emotional state shapes your experiences, that you can program your consciousness to receive answers, and that fear, when faced, turns into wisdom. With dream journaling, lucid awareness, and simple energetic practices, you can turn ordinary sleep into a nightly journey of awakening. Because the truth is, you're never really asleep. You're just exploring other layers of reality. So tell me, have you ever had an experience you couldn't explain? A dream that felt too real? Or a night where you sensed yourself floating beyond the body? Share it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you'd like me to dive deeper into a specific mystery, lucid dreaming, astral projection, or the quantum side of consciousness, drop your topic below. Until next time, sleep deeply, dream consciously, and remember, the universe never stops teaching.